unhappiness, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, anger, loneliness, confusion, gloomy, empty, disconnected. These are all real feelings. And like me, you may experience some pretty unusual feelings from time to time, especially as we walk down a road that we have never walked before, as we experience a new way of life that we've never experienced before. But God made us so that we would feel our feelings. We don't need to ignore them. A lot goes on in our heads. We're natural thinkers, we're natural feelers, but there are times when feelings can be disruptive in our lives. Maybe you get a little more anxious than you should, or maybe you get a little more overwhelmed than you should at times. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." And so if your mind is being disrupted by the issues of life, stay tuned until the end. I want to give you some practical steps to know how to keep your heart with all diligence, or in other words, how to control your emotions in a tough time. Hey there, I'm Ryan Franklin, and this is Church Leader Made Simple, and I would love for you to join me every week as we explore leadership topics that help you get the clarity needed to move your church forward. Just hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified as soon as I post a new session. And without any further delay, let's get to it. Today I want to talk about a few key things that we can do to bring order to our emotions. And if you don't have something to take notes with, why don't you press pause right now and go grab something, because this is going to be some really practical and helpful things. There's times that my emotions get a bit carried away. I work myself up, or someone else works me up, and those emotions get to a place that it's just difficult to function with a clarity of mind. And many times even negative things will come to the surface that will literally push key relationships in my life away. And so I want to give you a few things that will help you control your emotions. Number one, ask yourself, what am I feeling? You're not going to control something or temper something that you can't identify. And so ask yourself, what am I feeling? And sometimes it's hard to name it. Sometimes I struggle to know exactly what it is. So you may laugh at me, but I literally have a feelings chart in my phone that can give me some ideas if I'm having trouble figuring out what I'm actually feeling. Believe it or not, most of us struggle with putting a name on it. And so whatever you're feeling, if you're aggravated or sad or tired or whatever's going on the inside of you, just name it. Sometimes all I need to do is verbalize what's going on inside of me, and it'll usually relieve the pressure of that feeling to a place that I can manage it, that I can think a little bit clearer. Number two, ask God to help. And I often process my emotions in prayer as well. I'll figure out what I'm feeling, and I'll just tell God in prayer, Lord, I'm mad, I'm scared, I'm overwhelmed, whatever it is. And then I just ask God to help me with those feelings. And the reason that this is so important is because the brain loves for you to put a name on what's going on the inside of you. And just by verbalizing it to yourself and to God, it does something in the brain. And by verbalizing it to God, I want to tell you prayer works, and that'll help you bring that emotion into order. Step three. Step three is to just stare at the wall. I'm kidding. Get back to your normal routine. That's step three. Now, I'm not saying ignore the emotion, but many times emotions are going to come and go. And so after you name it and after you pray about it, then use a little willpower and just go on with your normal routine. Get back to work or whatever you're doing. And if it's not a real intense emotion, then it's not worth really spending a lot of extra time on. And just by naming it and praying about it and moving on with life, you're probably going to snap out of that negative emotion with no problem. The alternative is just to stare at the wall. And I'm really kidding about that, but that really doesn't help anything. But if we'll move on with our day, that routine and that structure is one of the things that's going to help us get through all of the basic emotions that we may experience in life. But if that doesn't work, if the anxiety is still coming to you in an unusual way, then move on to step 4. And that's to ask yourself why. That emotion is there for a reason. That negative feeling that you're experiencing is the fruit of some sort of problem in your life. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep for too many nights in a row and you're feeling irritated. Maybe you're having to make a life-changing decision in the coming days or weeks, and it's causing a tremendous amount of worry within you. Maybe you're having to do something that makes you uncomfortable, and it's causing you to feel inadequate about yourself. Your feelings are actually telling you that there's a problem. And so just ask yourself why. And if you'll ask yourself why, it'll usually bring more understanding to your situation. And it's amazing how more understanding of what's bringing that stress and that anxiety, it's amazing how that can sometimes deflate that stress in a big way. And then move on to step 5. Step 5 is take action. Once you figure out what it is, if it's something that you can do something about, the source of that problem, then take action and do it. Maybe you need to just get more sleep and rest. It's amazing how when we're tired and at our physical or social limits, it's amazing how it can bring out the worst of our emotions. And if you've been overly moody or egotistical, maybe you just need to apologize to your spouse or to your kids or even to someone else that we may lead. If you've been dragging on a decision, you've been dragging it out way too long and it's bringing unusual stress to you, maybe you just need to apply the 70% rule to a decision. If you're 70% sure that it's the right decision, then pull the trigger on it and move on. If you'll do what's necessary to tackle the cause of that emotion, if it's possible, then things are probably going to get better for you. And if you can't do anything about it and it's still plaguing you, now's the time to move on to step 6. The last thing that you can do about it, step 6, is resource from others. And if you've been watching many of my sessions, you'll know that I'm big on a support team and resourcing from other people for emotional regulation and energy. And if you're not able to get your emotions under control yourself with those first 5 steps, then it's important that you're able to move to another key, safe person or people in your life. You probably don't need this person to give you advice. You don't need them to all of a sudden become your counselor. You just need someone that can just be there with you and hear what you're going through. Job in the Bible went through some crazy stuff. And in Job chapter 2, Job's friends saw that he was going through all of this tough stuff that had him in a bad emotional state. And so they just sat with him. And without even saying a word, for 7 days and 7 nights, Scripture says, for they saw that his grief was very great. And many times we just need to know that someone is there with us and understands what we're feeling. We just need someone to be there with us. And I just want to tell you that this stuff really does work. It's biblical and it works when you're experiencing those tough emotions of life. And so that's it for today. These are the 6 steps that I hope will help you control your emotions. Six steps that will help bring some order to your feelings. And I hope this helps you in some way. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you found value from this session, I would greatly appreciate you hitting the like button or writing a review, and also sharing this content on your favorite social media sites. It just helps me extend my reach. Hope you have a great day. God bless.